When there is a mention of heritage, old traditions, and customs, two types of thoughts seem to emerge. Some say burn the old, throw it away, while others think that old is gold. Do we have to choose between one or the other of these conflicting ideologies, or is there a golden mean between the two? Can we create a constantly evolving, ever new culture? A culture that's created by weaving together the threads from the ancient wisdom and the pragmatism of new knowledge of today? That is what we are attempting to do with this podcast. This is a conversation starter and thought stimulator. Hello, you are listening to the podcast Something Old, Something New, and I am your host, Rohini Abhyankar. Part 4, the story of Sharang Birds, in the chapter on the burning of Khandava forest from Mahabharata. I don't know if this ever happens to you, but whenever I hear or recollect a favorite song, that song keeps playing in my head. So much so that I can't get rid of it except by singing it out loud. Some stories are also like that. After reading them, they stick with you for a long time. Folklore expert A.K. Ramanujan says that stories are to be told and retold. If we keep them to ourselves, it creates a burden that can be offloaded only by narrating those stories to others. So, the point here is that today I am going to tell you one of my favorite stories, the story of Sharang Birds from the Adi Parva of Mahabharata. There is a chapter in Adi Parva called The Burning of Khandava Forest. It narrates the story of Krishna and Arjun performing a horrific slaughter to provide food for Agni, the fire god. Khandava forest was burning, and the animals and birds running out to save their lives were being driven back in by Krishna Arjun duo with their war power or were annihilated. Why did this happen? Who was protecting, destroying whom? The story is horrific. However, it's not our story today. That story is for a later time. But our story today is situated in this burning Khandava forest where there was a nest of a Sharang bird on top of a tree. There were four little chicks in it. In the inferno where everyone was perishing, these little birds survived. How did that happen? That is what this story is all about. The great Veda Vyas, the creator of Mahabharata, was a skilled storyteller. None of his stories are born without giving us the background information. So, whose chicks were these? Let's hear. There was an ascetic named Mandapal. Mandapal did great penance and practiced strict celibacy and finally ascended to heaven. After reaching the gates, he realized that not all fruits of penance were available to him. That is, he did not get entry to heavens as he desired. He asked the gatekeepers, "Why do I not get the fruits of my penance?" He got the following reply: "Yes, you have performed sacrifices, performed penance, earned merit, but still you do not get access to heaven because you have no children, sons or daughters, who save you from the hell called Put. Hence they are called Putra or Putri. You do not have them. So return to earth and see to it that you will have progeny." Sage Mandapal accepted his shortcoming and thought for a while about how he could get maximum children in the shortest possible time. He realized that birds can have many babies at a time. So he transformed himself in the form of a Sharang bird. In due course of time, he met a female of the same species named Jarita, and she gave birth to four chicks who themselves were ascetics from their past lives. Mandapal left the mother and babies in search of another mate. Where did all this happen? Atop a tree in a nest in the Khandava forest. Now, when the forest was burning, this sage Mandapal, flying over it, realized the fate of his babies and became very worried. As a way out of the grave situation, he began to praise the god of fire. He sang beautiful praises of Agni. Addressing Agni, he said, "O Agni, You are the whole universe. Everything is created because of you. You are the water, you are the air, you are the embodiment of the three gunas, which are the fundamental three qualities. The whole universe runs on the energy you provide. Hearing this and other praise, Agni was pleased and granted a boon, asking what Agni could do for Mandapal. When Mandapal requested Agni to spare his babies, Agni accepted this wish and granted Mandapal the boon. Thus, Mandapal secured the life of his children, but the story does not end here. As the fire approached the nest, the mother of these chicks was also very worried. She knew the babies were too little to save themselves. She knew that it was not possible for her to carry them to safety. She even contemplated spreading her wings over them to protect them and to give up her life along with them. Seeing no easy way out, she eventually decided to ask the little babies themselves. What do you think I should do? She asked. Seeing their mother's distress, the babies thought for a while and said, you should save your own life, for if you survive, you can have more children and the race will continue. And if we survive, you can always return. Jarita was not ready to give up yet. She pointed to a rat's burrow at the bottom of the tree and asked the children to go underground, saying that it would protect them from fire. The baby bird said, we don't have wings yet. We are mere balls of flesh. The rat will eat us. On the other hand, dying in a fire is accepted by scriptures. So don't worry about us. Save your life and go to a safe place. The dialogue continued for a while, with mother suggesting more options and the children poking holes in these options. Finally, Jarita took the children's leave and left to find a safer spot. Upon the mother's departure, the chicks started to mull over a desired state of mind while facing death. They talked about being calm and steadfast while facing death. They talked about facing death with open eyes and without fear. They talked about how a calm state of mind can lead to moksha, which is liberation from the eternal cycle of life and death. Realizing that the end was near and the fire was at their doorstep, as a last resort, just like their father, the babies started to sing in praise of Agni. They praised Agni wholeheartedly. They said Agni was the cause and the sustainer of the universe. Agni was water, Agni was air, and a life giver. Agni was pleased and he said to the little birds, your father had prayed like this, and I told him that I'll spare your lives. I am pleased with you too, so what can I do for you? Relieved that they were spared, the baby Sharang birds pointed Agni to a cat who lived nearby and was always devising ways to eat them. And so Agni turned his gaze away from the baby birds and moved on to devour the rest of the forest. This is the story from Mahabharata, the story written by Vedavyasa in a time when procreation was an urgent need of the society. Medical science was not that advanced and life expectancy was low. So the primary message is that procreation is a duty of humans. In today's age and time, with India leading the world population, this message needs to be tweaked by individuals for themselves to be perceived in the right way. Another angle to having children is that it's one of the easiest ways to do something for others, expanding the boundaries of individual I and include other people in it. Children are yours, but they are not really you. They are other humans. Along with this, there are several other relevant takeaways for me. For example, how to face disappointments. Despite all your efforts, if you're not able to reach where you want to reach, it's best to review the path, identify the shortcomings, and return from the gates of heaven to fix the shortcomings like Mandapal did. Another one is to stay steadfast and stoic in the worst of situations one can face, like the baby birds remaining even in difficult situations. Worst of them could be to come face to face with death. This may maximize the chance of averting such terrible situations. It is easier said than done, and that is why learned and wise people advise practicing techniques such as meditation and mindfulness. The Sharang chicks collected themselves, stayed calm, and eventually started singing the praise of Agni. And finally, a powerful message is that praise, not flattery, could be a potential tool to avert calamities. A sincere observation about a great and powerful entity expressed earnestly can avert difficult situations. There are several great instances in Mahabharata where the story takes a dramatic turn because someone praised a powerful entity, but those stories are for later. This brings me to the end of today's podcast. I will see you again with new topics for discussion, blending the new and the old. If you like the podcast, please subscribe and share, particularly with your younger friends who you think may enjoy and benefit from this blend of the ancient wisdom and today's pragmatism. Thanks for listening. Signing off for now. I am Rohini.